organization that is meanwhile very close to our organization, to Green Steps, has made this bird its mascot. So that's as much as I can say. What you don't see is on this branch, there is actually in front of the branch, in front of the bird, there is a dead mouse. But I cut it off because it looked really ugly. We can talk a bit more about the bird maybe at the end, unless you have now a rough guess what's its name. Do you know its name?
I'm not telling.
No? So maybe we share a bit more information afterwards at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So since we have at least 2 biologists here, it's going to be interesting. Good. So we go over to our procedure. We have a little bit of introduction, then we go into what's new. And today, what Lucas is going to show you is so new and so essential to this project, and it is so much from what we do here also on the ground, that I need to recap a bit where we started off and basically all the way that we went, at least during the last 2 years, I would say, at least since Gloria is here. So the basic value proposition that we had with the digital project here, the ARK, is that we move away from an anthropocentric worldview. So we have a lot of social media platforms, they connect people, and we figured that we need to have something different that connects people with nature, through nature, still people, but there's more than people. And so we have on the right side this central connection point, the tree. And would be too much to explain now why we focus so much on trees. But there is a significant psychological or eco-psychological reason for that. The trees are our starting point to develop bioregional identities. They are about growing our nature connection. And through the trees, since they are keystone species, we learn about local species, other species that live in the trees, and specimens. So the way we have started always is that we create an activity, and different nature educators have different formats of activities. It could be a walk, it could be a horse ride, it could be anything that you can imagine. We pair it with a species, like this bird that you just saw, and we pair it with a specimen that could be a specific tree that you have mapped in your neighborhood. And then you create a route out of this. This was our concept for which we needed an app to really scale this concept, because nature educators like John, like myself, like many, they have their routes, but they usually don't really provide a best practice or format so that it can be easily shared with others. And here you see also an old concept slide about the Mobile Campus 4.0. The center is here a school. And the problem that we want to address is that education is still 90% plus happening indoors, in schools. So a very, very big topic in transformation of our societies towards more nature education is how do we get children outside of the schools? Maybe not to a very far away national park or nature reserve, but just in the neighborhood. And we had this idea to develop, starting from schools, interactive nature learning paths. And you see here basically a concept slide that we had like 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, with different destinations in St. Pölten, the city where we are now. And the idea was that when you walk such a route and you explore certain species and specimen, you unlock them, you collect them on your account, whereas the others are still locked. So it's a sort of a run and jump game. And what we did on the side to make these routes happen is we mapped old trees. The old trees were our landmarks along which we developed those routes. And we mapped more than 400 trees that are centenarian trees, so older than 100 years old. and we developed more than 30 routes. These routes needed to be guided. So it was us basically as nature guides taking the children outdoors. And that's difficult because we are only a very small team. We want to empower teachers at the school to do it themselves. We want to make it easier for them. So we put these routes in our best practice library. Oh, I missed here something. We put them in our best practice library. Before I go to this slide, I want to show you our best practice library. So this is our best practice library. Do you see my screen?
We only see the presentation.
Okay, so I need to reshare probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yes. So the fifth icon in the main navigation bar on the side is our best practice library, and we have here many best practices. For example, we have the Big Friendly Giant general best practice. So it tells teachers how to create such routes. This is all there, and we have developed and put them in our library about 30 such routes. You see different locations. Like we can use this, for example. That's a route that we have recently developed in the school where I'm teaching currently. And it explains a teacher or a nature guide how to go outdoors and explore the environment. And when you go into a commons, like St. Pölten, you see here in the overview that we have mapped here 437 trees. There are 34 learning communities and about 400 people that are learning in this community. I mean, we are honest now, most of them are not so super active. But when you go into the commons, you see here in the tab on top which species this commons contains. So you have a list of species that is native to this commons. You have the specimens that have been mapped. Yeah, so those are specific trees. And you can create routes out of them. And these routes are mentioned here. So 38 routes have been created. So we wanted to take this to the next level and really turn this into a game. Turn this into a game. And the reason for turning it into a game is that a game is decentralized. Now, children can do it on their own and they don't need a guide. So, and for this purpose, we just stop sharing here again and go back to the slide deck. For this purpose, it's important to understand again a basic concept from where we started off. If the tree is sort of a human scale nature element that we can all relate to because it is outside of our house, in front of the school, then we build routes out of several trees to explore the neighborhood. And this is how we can get a better understanding of the ecosystems in which we live, the commons, usually the cities, because most people live nowadays in cities. The cities, again, are embedded into ecoregions or bioregions. And there are 844 on this planet. And when we get an understanding of these bioregions, it is easier for us to really become part of this superorganism, planet Earth. So also this is an old slide. What we want to scale up here is a transformation from nation states towards bioregions or ecoregions. And the data for these 844 ecoregions and 184 bioregions is integrated into the ARK. So this is already there. And now you might ask, why is this important for today? because the gamification shall help to create this overview effect. And therefore, it is important to understand why bioregions and ecoregions are really super important. They are the confirmed territories that help us to conserve nature. They are the confirmed scientific territories to restore biodiversity. They will be the territories for sustainable economic activity and governance, and what might be a bit far-fetched right now, but I believe it's 100% true. In the future, they will be very, very important to maintain peace. Because a lot of conflict, if you look into them, they happen because we ignore these natural territories on the planet. So I don't go here more into this, I think. One last slide before I hand over to Lucas. Very difficult to navigate today. So what we have done till now is that we create routes. But what Lucas is going to show you today is how to create quests. Routes are guided. Quests are self-guided. So it's really a game. And what we try to do here is provide science communication through gamification. And well, I hope that this is going to take off.
Cool. So I guess I can take over. So what we are going to have a look today is how to create a quest. I'm going to start with taking a look at an existing route in the best practice library. So I'm sharing my screen. Can you see my screen? All right, cool. So this is one of our routes, just next to the office in an abandoned factory area.
The two little guys are yours and me.
Yeah, you can see them there. And so far, this is only what we call a route. So somebody has to take you there and guide you along the trees and then award to you the specimens and species that you have observed. So now we're gonna create a quest out of it. And that means that we will have to put QR codes on the trees, and the people who will go through that quest will answer some quizzes that we will design for them now, and learn about the trees ecosystem services and immediately collect the trees after that. So no guidance needed. So let's take a look at what specimens there are. I'm going to use this as a cheat sheet. And I'm going to switch into the create quest interface, which I have in another window. So I'm switching to this window, and I am in the commands of St. Pölten. We are in here. On the tab on the top, we've got the quests. So these are all the existing quests and my status in them. Yeah, if you have attended the previous calls, you know what that means. And there is a new button in here called New Quest. So let's explore that. So first, it tells us that the quests consist of stops. So you add stops into that the people have to follow. Each stop is a single specimen, so a single tree in our case. Click the pencil icon above to add specimens and create a route out of them. So let's do that. I open the interface to add or remove stops. And I can see all the trees that we have in here in St. Pölten. And I can see that when I hover over them, I can click to add it into the route. So I'm going to go back into my cheat sheet quickly. And it's cherries of knowledge for the first one. So let's search for it. Cherries of knowledge. I click on it, and it appears on the right. Then the second one is RD15. Sounds like from Star Wars, RD15. Platanus London Plain. Then the third one is Villa Buchen. I don't know how to type in then. So Villa Buchen. And I think, okay, let's add one more after that, and I think this is going to be enough for us. So V24. All right. All right. So this was one way of adding the stops. If I'm familiar with the place, I can also use the map view and add the stops by clicking on them on the map. And immediately, clear the search. Immediately, I can see the route that I'm creating. So if I want to add one more tree in here, I'm gonna click here and click add. And I can see, okay, I thought that was the last one. That's the last one. So maybe I remove it and I add this one. And so I quickly have a preview of the route that the people will be walking. And maybe if I started wrong and I actually want to people to finish with the first, to start with the last one, I can just drag and drop into the order that I like. So I put the last one as the first, and yeah, made a kind of loop. Good. So do I have some that doesn't belong here actually? Maybe the last one is not, right? Yeah. So we've got 4 trees, 4 stops in this quest. I confirm, and I'm back in the main interface. I can see a preview of the map with the numbers of the stops. And right under it, I can see cards of the stops. But each stop needs to have some content. So that's what you can see after you scan the QR code. So there is a field for content and a little pen next to it. So let's add some content to Cherries of Knowledge. And here it tells us that each quest stop has 1 or more pages of content. It can be quiz questions or info pages. And you should drag the available types of content into the stop. So we've got quite a few types of content already available. So these are some pre-made questions that we have integrated into the ARK, and you don't really need to do anything besides just dragging them there and you're done. You cannot edit it, and the content of it is auto-generated later on. So we've got all kinds of questions about determining the species from bark, from the leaves, having a look what the bark looks like and selecting the right pattern, all kinds of biology stuff. And the last 2 kinds are custom ones. You can add an info page, which is when you want to tell people some information about what there is. I don't know, what could we write in there? Like this tree is
A cherry tree.
Cherry tree.
You can eat the cherry in early
Eat
summer.
Cherries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this way you can add some information. So our team has been using this to communicate some science concepts, or like tell people that they should go and pick up a big friendly giant collectible card afterwards, things like that. Yeah. So let's leave this one with these 2, and now I go to the next one, to the second stop, and add some content in here as well. I will create a custom question. So basically, if I'm not satisfied with all the questions that the ARK is offering me, I can create my own question. So can you give me quickly a question?
Yeah, for example, which type of vegetation is growing on the bark of the tree?
Okay, I could add a question, a picture or something. and now I have to add options. So
One can be another plant.
mhm,
One can be lichens,
mhm.
and the other is moss.
Mhm.
Okay,
And yeah,
should all of them be correct, or
Aha.
let's say that there is
Lichen.
let's say that there is lichen and moss
Yeah,
there. Okay, good. So
Okay.
I've created my question.
can I add another question?
Sure.
Yeah.
So let me first save this one. Maybe to this tree or to the next tree?
Yeah, we can do the next tree. I just want to show the different applications, because this quest format can turn into something very on the biology side, driving ecosystem awareness and biological knowledge. But it can also turn just into becoming more aware of the spaces in which we live. So what is the next tree? It's the Villa Buche. So the Villa Buche, I mean, I know the tree now is located in a very nice villa. It's a super nice tree, but it is not well known because the place is difficult to access. So the question could be, what could be done in terms of urban planning to make this tree more accessible for the general public?
Mhm.
Yeah, so what could be done to make this tree more accessible?
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah, so create a game. Create a game that involves the tree. Take down the fences around the villa. Make the villa a public property. It's now by a speculating landlord, owned by a speculating landlord. So that's one thing.
Give me a wrong answer.
So that's all correct now.
I mean one wrong one.
Move the tree to a different location. That's definitely wrong, because the tree is 160 years old.
How many questions can you actually write?
How many
Answers.
answers?
Sorry.
Currently, we're still showing always 4, so you can put as many as you want,
Okay.
and later on you will be able to choose how many you want to show.
Mm-hmm.
Up to 8. There's space for 8.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, Gloria, how about we also show one thing that really is about urban planning, because this is very close to our project, about surface sealing. Like, do we have one tree here that is like sealed?
I mean, we have one.
The last one, the fourth one?
Yeah.
It's not really sealed, but
which one is this? No, this is the one in front of the...
it's the side of the Turkish easel.
Aha.
It's not really, but but is this question is already done, right? Or not really?
Surface sealing.
Do we have a?
It would have to be a custom question.
It's a custom question. Okay.
So yeah, but let's add such a custom question. Let's just assume that this tree is in the middle of town and there is a very high surface ceiling. So how much of the surface under the tree is sealed? Would be a first question.
And doesn't let water through? Yeah.
Water, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then we could give 3 options: 10%, 30%, or 100%, or 90%.
Actually, in this case, it's 0%, and this is
Yeah, let's just assume it's not that case. Let's assume it's 90%. So
Okay.
only 90 is correct. The others are wrong. And then there could be a second question follow up. What could be done to improve the ecosystem services of that tree?
Right now I can only drag it once.
Mhm.
This is a limitation that we can get rid of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, but that would be a good question.
So yeah, so I mean, to summarize this, this is really now an interface for children, I would say students age 12 plus, to learn about the local ecosystem surrounding their school, really thinking what can be improved to make nature more powerful to support human life, and really participate as active agents in the development of urban spaces. This is why I think a lot of students are super frustrated, because they cannot really participate. They are just very passive. So with these quests, a lot can happen.
Right. So we got some questions on each of those stops. Now we need to still fill in some more info about the quest. So let's quickly go through that. We need to select the cover picture. Actually, I didn't prepare one, so we can leave it without a picture for now. The name would be the Glanzstoff, Glanzstoff quest.
BFG Glanzstoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the length, I don't know.
It's written, I don't know, 1 kilometer maybe.
So
the total route is about a kilometer, yeah.
So that would take by about
60 minutes, 60 to 90
60
minutes.
to 90 minutes.
Well, maybe the quests are faster now.
Yeah, because not so many.
And then the accessibility of this route is quite low, I guess. No?
Yeah, this is yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not very.
Yeah, it's actually illegal to go there.
Yeah, it's private. It's private property.
Okay, so
Why?
I have some values here. Yeah. So do you want to change? Accessibility 1, safety 3.
Yeah, safety.
Yeah, safety is good.
Yeah.
Biodiversity, I would
Maybe
4
3.
or 3.
Yeah.
All right, good. And then we need to give some description that people see when they first time scan the first tag, or when they scan on the info board, if there is one. So I'm just gonna copy a description from another place. From this one. Good. And so I'm good with it. I'm gonna publish. And ta-da! I think it's there. It's the one without a picture. So now I have to switch to mobile view, because this interface for viewing the quests is only on mobile phones. So I'm opening it. And so, yeah, this is what we have just created with all the information. And when people click continue, they can start with scanning a QR code on the tree. So then you can see where you are, and you can move to the tree and do the quest. So let's have a look how the questions look like. I have to have a little, because I cannot scan it, I need to directly produce the link. So just give me a second. I'm going to copy it from here. And this is what it would look like when you scan the QR code. First, it shows you the description. And this is the first question that we have put in there. So it's a cherry. Okay. And this is a cherry tree. You can eat the cherries. Okay, we need to adjust the formatting a little bit, I see. And so this is the info page we created. And stop completed. I've collected the card. I can learn about the ecosystem services of the tree. And I can continue the game. Let's have a look at the second stop. Is this one? So what type of vegetation is growing on the bark? It was the lichen and moss, right? Yeah. Okay, so I think you got the concept. I'm not gonna go through the rest. Yeah. Now.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe what is important to show now is maybe you ask yourself even that how would students or anybody see that there is such a quest available out in the open space? So we have also designed a template, and I quickly show you how this looks like. Those are info boards which we print in A2 and then laminate them. And at the starting point of the route, this is precisely in the school where I'm teaching now. They are being put up in English and in German. And whoever wants to play the route, the quest, scans the QR code and off you go. So this is a route that we have recently designed in the school garden. It tells you physically on the wall of a building, for example, how long the route is. So all the information that Lucas just created online is basically printed here, and this is how the neighborhood is being activated. Yeah, so I think that's it for today. No?
Yeah, that's it.
So is there an app for this interface?
Again, please, if there is.
Is there an app for this interface to access?
So we've got an Android app which has the same functionality as the web app. So
I have to go on the browser first to get into this.
So
I just use my smartphone to scan the QR code, and the app's already opened. It's a PVA app, like a normal smartphone app.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So the way it works, like when you are creating the quest, for example, that's on the computer, probably the best, where actually the interface is only optimized for a big screen right now. And then when you are out as the player, then you need to have a QR code scanner, and you scan a QR on the first tree, and that opens the app, which is a web app, which is in the browser. Yeah. And so it works in the browser. You don't need to install anything. So I see that as an advantage. But we know that many people like to have an app for the reason that it's easier for them to return to it later. Maybe because they don't use bookmarks so much. So we made this Android app, which, as Hans said, is just the packaged, this website package. So it's got exactly the same functionality. We want to do the same also for iOS, but it's a little bit more complicated in there. So still not.
But also, Gregory, to come back, I mean, nothing has changed. It's still this mobile website that we use. All the functionality are in this website, and I just shared the link to the Android app, so you can download it from there, from the Play Store.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have an iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone, you can set the bookmark, which is the same basically. You just set a bookmark on your screen, and then it works like an app.
Yeah, exactly. There on the bottom of in Safari there is the share button, and then there is add to home screen.
Okay.
And with this, you achieve exactly the same functionality like we have in the Android app.
Understood.